Hey church, today we're looking at another amazing missionary story. This one is examining the life of a woman named Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael was born in Ireland in 1867. At a young age, when she was a teenager, she made a full commitment to Jesus and immediately started asking how she can go and proclaim the gospel in word and in deed in the spaces that she found herself in. When she was in her early 20s, she got on a boat and sailed across the sea to Manchester in England, where she started serving in the slums and helping people who were in the midst of poverty, taking care of their physical needs, but telling them about Jesus. While she was there, she went to a church conference run by an organization that still exists today called CMS. CMS was wanting to raise up missionaries to go to some of the most difficult places around the world. And so Amy Carmichael was one of the first people to put her hands up. And she went to Japan, where at that time it was really difficult to be a Christian and to be a missionary. Many missionaries were persecuted, jailed, sent home. Some were even killed. And yet she went and she served faithfully there as well as in China before returning back to England. While she was there, a new mission opportunity opened up in South India. No missionaries had gone into this particular region of India at that time, and so Amy Carmichael again put her hand up and said, "Here I am, send me." By the way, Amy Carmichael was the first female missionary that CMS ever sent. Pretty amazing. So, when she was about 30 years old, she arrived in southern India. And the thing that struck her attention the most was the amount of children, particularly girls, who were sold into slavery in the Hindu temple system. So these are families that basically gave up their kids so that they could have enough food on the table and they would receive a small income. It was what we might call human trafficking, even over 100 years ago. And so Amy Carmichael saw these young girls who were trafficked, sold or taken from families, and basically used as temple prostitutes in these Hindu temples. And immediately she said, "This is not a reflection of how God has designed humans to live." And so in the very beginning, she dedicated herself to rescue these young girls out of slavery and the sex trade. She started an organization called Donaver Fellowship, and the whole organization was revolving around a bunch of different things. It was about rescuing children from slavery. It was about educating, particularly women, but men as well, and teaching them how to read, teaching them how to be able to find and develop skills so that they could get meaningful work and get money. She had food programs, and she also would regularly travel around to different villages and preach the good news of Jesus. When she was about 60 years old, Amy Carmichael had a fall and seriously hurt herself and was partially paralyzed for the rest of her life. And yet, she continued to serve God, to travel around the countryside, and even when CMS asked her to return back to England or to Ireland to rest or retire, she refused. She said that these people are my people. In fact, there was someone who wrote a letter to Amy from the United States, a young girl who was in her teens who was also thinking about going into ministry. And this teenage girl said, can you tell me what the cost of missions is? I'm curious, I want to know, how do I get involved, and what's the cost? And Amy Carmichael wrote her a letter back that said, "The cost of going into mission and serving Jesus is everything, your whole life. But in doing so, you find so much more." Amy Carmichael is really interesting because she is not only someone who goes to a foreign country and tells people about Jesus. That's sort of the classic model of what we think missions is. But in fact, she recognized that the good news of Jesus is more than just telling people about the forgiveness of sin. That's obviously a big part of what the good news is about, but she recognized that the good news of Jesus actually speaks to every area of our life. And so that's why she rescued people from slavery. This is why she fed people and gave people an education and helped them find meaningful work. Because for her, the gospel of Jesus is not simply about saving souls. It's about demonstrating God's goodness and faithfulness and kindness, both here and now and into eternity. She is an amazing example of someone that demonstrated the gospel, preached the gospel, but helped other people in real, tangible ways experience the good news of Jesus as well. Now, the interesting thing is tonight we have a mission seminar called the Freedom Project, an organization that's coming in who are continuing the work of people like Amy Carmichael. This organization has gone into India, and they exist. They're a Christian organization who tell people about Jesus, and they are at work rescuing people from human trafficking and slavery in India. And if you'd like to hear more about this amazing mission organization, what they're doing, how you can be involved, which, again, this is something I think all Christians need to get involved in, we would love to have you tonight. It's starting at 7:15, Wednesday at church. Masks are not required. Hopefully, we'll see you there. Bye.